Every minute of every single day of our lives is filled with stories. It is said that 65 to 75% of our interactions consist of personal narratives, anecdotes, and experiences. From casual chats with friends and family to formal presentation at work, storytelling plays such an important role in our communication and connection with others. Every time we sit with our children to talk, it's all about stories. What happened in school, what they did in school, what the teacher said, what the teachers did not say. It's all about stories. We use stories to share our successes, pains, and emotions with every single person that we interact with, whether we are recounting a vacation we had or explaining complex processes. It's all about stories. Stories are the glue that binds all of our experiences in life. When we listen to music, it's all about stories. I am a big Bob Marley fan, and this morning I was listening to Three Little Birds. And as he sang that song, I was visualizing it. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun, three little birds peach by my doorstep. As he was singing it, I was visualizing it. Even as I was saying it now, you're visualizing it. It's all about stories. Even the instrumentation of a song is a captivating narrative in itself. As we listen to the instrumentation of a song, it transports us to a different place, takes us on a roller coaster of emotions. Takes us to a whole new dimension, some will say. It's all stories. Throughout history, storytelling has been a fundamental part of communication, allowing us to share experiences, emotions, and interactions with others and with other places. The greatest changes that humanity has seen has come from storytellers. Jesus was a great storyteller. Almost 80% of everything he said was just stories. The parables are stories. The Bible is a book of stories by great storytellers. Some will say the greatest storytellers. Almost everything that we do in life is dependent on how good a story we can tell, either verbally or visually. A job interview is nothing but an invitation for us to come tell our story, based on the story that our resume already told. If you look at a job interview that way, it changes everything. It is nothing but an invitation for us to come tell our story. Everything that we do is dependent on how good a story we can tell. The guy that got the job that you wanted might be less competent than you are. You might have been a better fit for that position than he was, but he simply told a better story. Now, let me pause here and say this, because every time I give this talk, there's always a segment of the audience who feels I'm encouraging people to lie or tell non-truths. That's not the kind of story I mean. I'm talking about stories that inspire and persuade people. I'm talking about stories like the Ethiopian runner that grew up in the villages in Ethiopia, running barefoot, never owning a pair of shoes. And over time, this person becomes an Olympic champion. That is an inspiring story. Those are the kind of stories I'm talking about. In doing the research for this video, I came across a very, very interesting fact. And that is that the children of the wealthy, aristocrats, call them what you will, have always tended to study the liberal arts, English, poetry, literature. And it was done for a reason. It is like that for a reason. You see, what those fields of study inadvertently do is they teach you how to craft a good narrative and engage your audience. And they understood, or they understand, that being a good storyteller makes you an effective communicator. And that is one of the most important skills to have. You can be the greatest engineer, you can be the best in your field in whatever you're doing. But if you cannot tell a good story, you will never go as far as people who can tell a good story in your field. I don't care how good you are. If you cannot communicate by telling a good story, you won't go very far. What inspired this video was a conversation I had with a client. I was trying to encourage her to incorporate stories in her presentation. And what she said was what most people say, that she didn't know how to tell stories. We are all born storytellers. From the early stages of life, humans are born storytellers. A baby's reaction and responses are a reflection of the stories that they tell themselves, even in their young minds. Whether it is a response from being hugged by a loved one or the frustration of being hungry, all of these reactions are based on the stories that they tell themselves inside them, even with their young minds, even in those young minds. These self-stories are very important in developing their perception of reality, and also very, very important as they develop to become storytellers of their own lives. So nobody can say, I don't know how to tell stories. I'm not a good storyteller. We have been storytellers even before we were born. And the most important story is the story that we tell ourselves. Every single minute of every single day, we are telling stories. The stories that we tell ourselves determine everything that we do. It determines who we love. It determines who we do not love. It determines what we eat and what we do not eat. It determines where we go and we do not go. Every single minute of every single day, we have stories going on in our minds. We are constantly telling ourselves stories. And these self-stories determine every single thing that we do. Do I eat this? No, I'll eat this instead. Do I love Jennifer? Do I want to be with Jennifer or I want to be with Caroline? Every single decision that we take is based on the stories that we tell ourselves. Jonathan Gottschall, in his book, The Storytelling Animal, How Stories Make Us Human, emphasized that storytelling is an integral part of human nature, asserting that we are, as a species, addicted to story. Even when the body goes to sleep, the mind stays up all night, telling itself stories. When we dream, that's simply our mind telling itself stories. The most valuable asset that we have is our story. No one else, since the beginning of time until the end of time, no one will experience the things that you've experienced the way you experienced them. Nobody will feel the things that you have felt the way you felt them. Nobody else, no matter how anybody tries, can ever live life the way you have. The most valuable thing that we have is our story. The story that we tell ourselves is extremely important. Knowing how important storytelling is changed everything for me. I used to be the guy that never said much, that never liked to rock the boat. Not anymore. I use every single opportunity I get to tell a story. Storytelling changes everything. When your child is sad, stressed, or disturbed in any way, tell a story. When you're in a room full of people that you do not know and everything is kind of awkward, tell a story. It works every single time. It is one of the best ways to get your point across. And besides our fingerprints, I cannot think of anything else that is unique to us. If you found any value from this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And I would love to hear your story, so leave a comment as well. And I'll see you on the next video.